I am Raaajaa Aavula, Faculty of History. Today we are going to discuss Akbar's policies. Akbar's policies. In the last classes, we discussed about the Akbar. In the last class, discussed the Akbar. Akbar, he ruled from 1556 to 1605. During this Akbar period, we almost completed the early age of the Akbar. Early age of Akbar has been completed. That means at the age of the 1556, Akbar came to the throne at the age of the 13 and a half years. 13 and a half years age. He came to the throne at the age of the 13 and a half years. In 1556 with the second battle of Panipat in 1556, he restored that means substantiated the Mughal Empire. Substantiated the Mughal Empire. That means Mughal Empire became very strong after the Akbar after 1556 second battle of Panipat. So second battle of Panipat we have been completed, and Akbar's early age, that is Akbar's childhood, has been completed. Akbar early age has been completed, and during the time of the Akbar period, this was Bairam Khan. Bairam Khan, initially Bairam Khan dominated in the politics of the Akbar. This is also completed. Next after this Bairam Khan, Mahamangma. So this topic also has been completed. Mahamangma, she dominated the politics from 1560 to 1561, just 1 year. And he dominated, Bairam Khan dominated Akbar time politics from 1556 to 1560, this year. And after that, from 1561 onwards, Akbar, he started his own rule. During this period, we completed North Indian conquest of the Akbar. We have been completed the North Indian conquest of the Akbar. In the North India, Akbar, he completed the conquest of Rajputs. Originally, North India was under the control of the Rajputs at the time of the Akbar period. Akbar, he came to the throne 1556, continued up to 1605. 1556 to 1605, Akbar period. So in this period, 1561, he started the conquests, Akbar conquest, North India. He completed the North India conquest, especially North India Rajput rulers. Rajputs. North India under the control of the Rajputs. This was under the control of the Rajputs. That is Rajasthan. And the remaining area was under the control of the Mughals. Deccan was under the control of the 5 Muslims, I already told to you. Now we are going to discuss the Deccan policy of Akbar. Rajput policy of the Akbar, Deccan policy of the Akbar, and also this religious policy of the Akbar, Akbar reforms. These are the things we have to discuss now. First, coming to the point of Deccan policy of Akbar. Deccan policy of Akbar. Yeah, we know that Deccan was under the control of the Deccan Sultans of that period. Deccan Sultans, especially Deccan Sultans, Ahmadnagar, they fought with Akbar. Ahmadnagar Sultans fought with Akbar. Golconda, Qutub Shahi, these two Golconda, Qutub Shahi rulers, they accepted the Akbar suzerainty. And also Bijapur also accepted the suzerainty of the Akbar. So Ahmadnagar was there. So in the Ahmadnagar, to control of the Deccan, he started the conquest of Deccan. In 1591, in the year 1591, Akbar sent Raaajaa Ali Khan to the Khandesh. Raaajaa Ali Khan, he was sent by Akbar to conquest the Khandesh. Khandesh. It was under the control of the Gujarat. Originally, it was under the control of the Gujarat. 1591, Khandesh was submitted. 1595. In the year 1595, first time Akbar made invasions on the Ahmednagar. Ahmednagar. First time on the Ahmednagar. By this time, Ahmednagar ruler was Bibi, Chand Bibi. She was Chand Bibi. Because Chand Bibi's son, she was minor after the death of the Sultan. Chand Bibi's son was the minor. That's why in the name of the Chand Bibi's son, she continued the rule. Chand Bibi, queen of the Ahmednagar, she objected the suzerainty of, she did not accept the suzerainty of the Akbar. That's why there occurred a war between the Ahmednagar and Akbar. Akbar, he sent Abdur Rahim. Akbar sent Abdur Rahim. Who was Abdur Rahim? Remember, Abdur Rahim was son of Bairam Khan. Son of Bairam Khan. And also Abdur Rahim, he was Khani-i-Khanan during the time of the Akbar period. Khani-i-Khanan. He was Khani-i-Khanan. So Akbar sent Abdur Rahim. Chand Bibi was the queen. Widow of the, she was widow of Ali Adil Shah. Chand Bibi, she was widow of Ali Adil Shah of Bijapur. Ali Adil Shah of Bijapur. So she was ruling Ahmednagar. It was at this moment, 1599. Whenever second conquest, first time, this 1595, first time invade on the Ahmednagar. 1599, second time invasion on the Ahmednagar. In the second time invasion, Akbar lost to one of his sons. He was called as Murad. Akbar's son Murad died. Remember, Akbar's son Murad died in the Ahmednagar conquest. Murad, he was a drunkard. Murad was the drunkard. Has taken more drink. So because of that, he died in the Deccan invasions, 1599. After this, Akbar occupied Ahmednagar and she was defeated. Ahmednagar ruler Chand Bibi was defeated by the Abdur Rahim. 1599, Akbar occupied Ahmednagar. Ahmednagar was occupied by the Akbar in 1599. After this, Khandesh, he also occupied the Khandesh. 1603, Akbar occupied Ashirgarh. By the annexation of the Ashirgarh, ended the Deccan policy of Akbar. Daniel was appointed as a ruler of the Ahmednagar. Daniel, son of Akbar. Daniel, son of Akbar, he was appointed as a ruler of the Deccan. Deccan ruler. Daniel appointed as Deccan. This was the Deccan policy. The remaining people of the Deccan did not oppose the suzerainty of the Akbar except Ahmednagar. Coming to the point of the Deccan policy, why specially we are going to discuss during the time of the Akbar period, especially the Deccan policy. Remember, Akbar was the first Mughal emperor. Akbar was a first Mughal emperor. Akbar was first Mughal emperor, started Deccan policy. Deccan invasions. He was the first Mughal emperor who started the Deccan invasions, Akbar. That's why especially we are going to discuss the Deccan policy. So this is about the Deccan policy, especially you have to remember Ahmednagar, Chand Bibi, war with the Jan Bibi. He lost Murad, his son, and also Daniel became the ruler of the Deccan. He occupied Ahmednagar, Khandes, Ashirgarh. Ashirgarh was the last conquest of the Akbar. During the Akbar period, first conquest was Malwa. Malwa was the first conquest. Last conquest was Ashirgarh. ఫస్ట్ ఆక్యుపై చేసింది మాల్వా అయితే లాస్ట్లో ఆక్యుపై చేసింది ఆసిర్గర్. దిస్ ఈజ్ అబౌట్ దక్కన్ పాలసీ. ఆఫ్టర్ ది దక్కన్ పాలసీ, కమింగ్ టు ద పాయింట్ ఆఫ్ ది రిలీజియస్ పాలసీ ఆఫ్ అక్బర్. రిలీజియస్ పాలసీ ఆఫ్ అక్బర్. Religious policy. Mughal religious policy was started by the Akbar. Mughals religious policy was started by the Akbar. Akbar ruled India. He ruled India. India is most Hindu populated country. More than 98% of the people of that period were the Hindus. Just 1 or 2% were the Muslims of that period. 1 or 2% Muslims were ruled 98% Hindus during the medieval period. So, Akbar, to rule India, he followed the religious policy, that is religious reforms. 1562, in the year 1562, so 1562 Akbar, in the reforms of the religious reforms, he banned the slave trade. Akbar banned the slave trade, selling of the slaves and purchase of the slaves. And also Akbar banned the forceful conversions of Islam. Forceful conversions of Islam. He banned the forceful conversions of Islam. This is another thing. And 1563 he abolished pilgrim tax. Pilgrim tax. There was pilgrim tax on the Hindus to visit the pilgrimages. For the pilgrimages they have to pay the tax. Pilgrim tax. And 1564 Akbar abolished the Sati Act. And also 1564 Akbar abolished the jizya tax. Jizya tax. What is the jizya tax? Jizya tax, it was levied on the non-Muslims. Jizya tax, it is a tax levied on the non-Muslims. Akbar was the first Muslim ruler who abolished the jizya tax. Jizya tax first introduced by the Arabs in India in 712 AD. It started 712 AD. Arabs started the jizya tax, to collect the jizya tax from the Indians. Next, what is the main intention of the jizya tax? Jizya tax, it was levied on the non-Muslims. If non-Muslim was not able to pay the tax, jizya tax, he can convert into the Islam religion. Or more Hindus are there, because of that they can collect more revenue. So one is they can collect the more revenue. Second one is they are going to convert the people automatically into the Islam religion. ఒకటేమో ఎక్కువ డబ్బు వస్తుంది, రెండోదేమో ఈజీగా కన్వర్ట్ అవుతుంది. అంటే డబ్బు పే చేయలేనటువంటి వాళ్ళు, ట్యాక్స్ పే చేయలేనటువంటి వాళ్ళు ఇస్లాం రిలీజన్ తీసుకుంటారు. సో వన్ షాట్ టూ బర్డ్స్. That was the jizya tax. It was abolished by the Akbar to collect. And also 1570 Akbar abolished the Jagirdari. 1570 Akbar, he abolished the Jagirdari system. Akbar abolished the Jagirdari system in 1570. Jagirdari system abolished, and abolished the taxes, Jagirdari taxes. 1574 stopped the crop damages. 1574 stopped the crop damages during the war times. If there occurred war, during the war times, people they used to damage the crops. So that was stopped by the damage of the crops during the wars period. That was stopped by the Akbar. For example, now we are going to see the Ukraine and Russia war. During the Ukraine and Russia war, Russia is going to collapse the buildings of Ukraine, different cities. Is it correct way to collapse the buildings? They can attempt the people, those who are targeted, that's different. But attempting on the common man, attempting on the damage of the public buildings and public vehicles, all these are not good. So same like that, Akbar he stopped the what is that damage of the crops during the war time. 1586, Akbar stopped the communal violence. Communal violence. Stop the communal violence. People should stop the communal violence. Religious violence, religious fightings. 1587, in the year 1587, this period, Akbar abolished the polygamy. Polygamy, it was very common of that period, having different wives. Polygamy means different wives. But this polygamy accepted the people, those who were not having child. So childless people, childless persons, they can go for the polygamy. Otherwise, they should not go for the polygamy. So that is, polygamy was abolished by the Akbar. Minimum marriage for the boys, he made minimum marriage for the boys. Marriage age, boys 16 years, girls 14 years. He fixed the minimum age for the boys and girls, 16 years and 14 years. This was fixed for the minimum age. Abolished the sati. Sati was abolished. He was first Indian ruler who abolished the sati. Never and ever, no other Indian ruler concentrated on the sati, because sati was years-long tradition which was going on in India. We can find the first sati evidences, first epigraphical evidence of the sati can be found at Iran inscription, which belongs to the 6th century BC, even during the time of the Banu Gupta period, the Gupta's ruler. So sati was abolished, and shaving for the Muslims allowed. Muslims can shave the beard. Shaving of Muslims, this was also allowed. These are the reforms of Akbar. What are the reforms introduced by the Akbar? That is most important. And also wild pork and tiger mutton. Wild pork, tiger mutton. These two were also allowed to eat. Wild pork can eat, tiger can also eat. Actually, pork cannot be eaten by the Muslims. They can eat wild pork. And Jaroka Darshan, Akbar introduced the Jaroka Darshan. Jaroka Darshan means in the early morning, people they have to visit the ruler, and they can go to the works. Before going to the duties of the people, they have to visit the ruler. For the visiting of the ruler, they would collect some tax, that is called as Darsanamu, visit tax of the ruler. So people, those who are interested, they can visit the king, that is Jaroka Darshan. Jaroka Darshan introduced by the Akbar. Later period, Jaroka Darshan was abolished by the Aurangzeb. Along with this, Mahar Panja, he introduced the Mahar Panja. Mahar Panja. So Mahar Panja means not to kill a rival king. Mahar Panja means not to kill a rival king. Not to kill a rival king. If any rival king captured, he should not be killed. He can leave the ruler. అంటే శత్రువు ఎవరైనా దొరికినప్పుడు వాణ్ణి చంపకూడదు. దట్ వాజ్ ద మెహర్ పంజా issued by the Meher Panja, introduced by the Akbar. Akbar introduced that. Next, after this, these were the reforms. There were some literary reforms of the Akbar. Literary reforms. Literary reforms introduced the Persia as a language in the place of the Arabic. Actually, 712, whenever Arabs came to the India, they introduced Arabic as official language. Even during the Delhi Sultanate period, Arabic was the official language. Later period, 1572, Akbar introduced Persia as a official language. 1572. This continued up to 1835. This was continued up to 1835. In the 1835, Lord William Bentinck, he introduced the English as medium of education. Until that, Persia continued as a official language in India. Next, even though he gave the importance of the Hindi, Akbar's favorite language, this you can remember, the favorite language of Akbar. Favorite language of Akbar was Hindi. It was Hindi. Favorite language of the Akbar was Hindi. But even though he was the favorite of the Hindi, he introduced Persia. He gave importance to the Hindi, but he introduced the Persia, and he made several translations from Sanskrit to the Hindi. Mantakab ul Taharik. Mantakab ul Taharik. Mantakab ul Taharik. So it was a book translated, Hindi translated, and Ibrahim Sarhindi translated Atharva Veda. Ibrahim Sarhindi. Ibrahim Sarhindi, he translated Atharva Veda into Persia. Atharva Veda into Persia. So these are the literary reforms during the time of the Akbar period. Next, in the religion, what he made new things in the religion. Religious reforms. Religious reforms. What are the new things introduced in the religion of Akbar? In 1578, Akbar 75. In 1575, Akbar constructed Ibadat Khana. Ibadat Khana, it was a building constructed by the Akbar for the cause of the discussions of religious discussions. For the cause of the religious discussions, Akbar established the Ibadat Khana, constructed the Ibadat Khana. Abdul Latif, he was Guru of Akbar. Abdul Latif, he was religious Guru of Akbar. And Sheikh Salim Sisti. Sheikh Salim Sisti, he was also Guru of Akbar. Sufi Guru of Akbar. He was Sheikh Salim Chisti. Sheikh Salim Chisti, he was Sufi, Akbar Sufi Guru. Sufi Guru of Akbar. Later period on the name of the Sheikh Salim Sisti, Akbar also constructed a tomb. Sheikh Salim Sisti tomb at Fatehpur Sikri. And Akbar, Guru Abdul Latif. Abdul Latif taught Islam to the Akbar. He taught Islam to the Akbar. He taught the Islam to the Akbar. Sheikh Mubarak, he was a Sufi saint. Another saint, Sheikh Mubarak. He was a Sufi saint of Akbar. Sheikh Mubarak. Sheikh Mubarak, he gave spiritual thought to the Akbar. Spiritual thought. He gave the spiritual thought to the Akbar. And his sons were Abdul Latif, Abul Fazl and Abul Faizi. Sheikh Mubarak sons Abul Fazl, and Abul Faizi. Abul Fazl and Abul Faizi. These two are the sons of Sheikh Mubarak. Abul Fazl, main poet to the court of the Akbar. Abul Faizi, he was advisor to the Akbar. Abul Faizi. Yes. Yeah. During the time of the Akbar, Dastur Ji Maharaj Ji Rana. Dastur Ji Maharaj Ji Rana. He was Jain saint of the Akbar period. Sorry, Zoroastrian of the Akbar period. Zoroastrian. Akbar also have interest on the Zoroastrian religion. Akbar introduced fire cult, sun cult from the Zoroastrian religion. Akbar introduced fire cult, and also Akbar introduced sun cult, worship of the sun, worship of the fire. These were started by the Akbar. Devi Purushottam, Hindu poet. Devi Purushottam. Devi Purushottam was a Hindu poet of that period, Akbar period. Hindi poet of the Akbar period, Devi Purushottam. Damodar Das, he was a son of Vallabhacharya. Damodar Das, he was son of Vallabhacharya. Son of Vallabhacharya. And Vittal Das. Vittal Das. Vittal Das, he was a grandson of Vallabhacharya. These two were both impressed Akbar towards the spiritual ideas, Hindu spiritual ideas. Hindu spiritual ideas were given to the Akbar, these two people. And Birbal, very close to the Akbar. Akbar Birbal stories, we can hear the Akbar Birbal stories. There are so many Akbar Birbal stories. Akbar known Hindu religion and faith. Birbal was Raaajaa Birbal. He was only one person who joined in the Akbar's Dini Ilahi. He explained about the worship of sun. Birbal. Birbal he explained about the sun worship to the Akbar, and also Panchabhutas, karma theory. All these were explained to the Akbar by the Birbal. Next, after this, Padma Sundara, another person, Padma Sundara, who had touch with Akbar. He was another religious person. He was Jain scholar. He was Jain scholar, touch with the Akbar. Padma Sundara was a Jain scholar. And also he was writer of the Akbar Shahi. He wrote Akbar Shahi. Akbar Shahi was the romantic story of Akbar, written by Padma Sundara. Next to Hira Vijaya Suri, another person, Hira Vijaya Suri. Hira Vijaya Suri, another person. Hira Vijaya Suri, he was also Jain scholar, influenced Akbar. Only because of Hari Vijaya Suri, Akbar, he left to hunt. Hunting was left by the Akbar because of his teachings, inspired his teachings. Ethan teachings vini Akbar hunting cheyadame manesadu. Left hunting, having the non-veg from his teachings. And non-veg తీసుకోవడం మానేశాడు, hunting చేయడం మానేశాడు because of the what is that Padma Sundar, Hari Vijaya Suri. After that Ramadas, fourth Sikh Guru. Ramadas was also another important personality, contemporary of Akbar. Fourth Sikh Guru. Akbar gave land for the construction of the temple, Golden Temple. Ramadas. Next to Father Mansuret. Father Mansuret. He was also contemporary to the Akbar. He was a Christian. Akbar invited him to speech of Christianity, for the speech of Christianity in the Ibadat Khana. Akbar invited him. And Tulasidas, he was a Bhakti poet during the time of the Akbar period, Bhakti poet, and also Bhakti reformer Tulasidas. He wrote Ramacharita Manas. Tulasidas wrote Ramacharita Manas. Tulasidas wrote Ramacharita Manas during the time of the Akbar period. And he struck the image of Rama on coins. Because of him, Akbar struck the coins of the Rama on his coins. Next to, after this, Akbar's religion, Din-i-Ilahi. Come to the point of the Din-i-Ilahi, which was introduced by the Akbar. Akbar's religion, Din-i-Ilahi. During his time, called as this was during the time of the Akbar period, called as Tawhidi Ilahi. Tawhidi Ilahi. During the time of the Akbar period, it was called as Tawhidi Ilahi. Divine monotheism. This is what called as divine monotheism. Tawhidi Ilahi is called as divine monotheism, oneness of God. That is what called as oneness of God. Oneness of God. 1579, September 2nd, Akbar declared infallibility decree. September 2nd. 1579, September 2nd, Akbar declared infallibility decree. Infallibility decree. Infallibility decree. Decree means Mahajar. Decree means Mahajar. This is what called as Mahajar. Declaration. Sorry, recognition. Mahajar, recognition. That was a decree was written by, the decree which was given to the Akbar, that was written by Sheikh Mubarak. Wrote the decree by Sheikh Mubarak. Sheikh Mubarak, he wrote the decree which was given to the Akbar. It was based on the Sulekul theory. Akbar infallibility decree based on the Sulekul. Sulekul means peace for all. Peace for all. It is what called as peace for all. Sulekul theory. Akbar followed the Sulekul theory. Sulekul theory was given to the Akbar by Sheikh Mubarak. 987 names, 987 imams signed for this. 987 imams. Imams means gurus. They signed on the Akbar's religion. Sunday is a day of initiation. Originally, Sunday was the day of initiation. Based on the Tawheed Ilahi. Follower greet each other. They greeted each other with the Allahu Akbar. Whenever they used to come each other, they have to greet like Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. This was the greeting to each other, greeting to the each other, and also Jala Jala Il. Jale Jala Il. No meat, no marriage, no meat, no marriage for this tradition, and with no marriage with old women. No marriage with old women. They should not get marriage with old women and minor. Both old women and minor. They should not get marriage with the old woman and minor. So no meat, no marriage of the woman and minor, and no scriptures. No scriptures. No priest. No priest for this religion. No priest for this religion. Sacrifice the property. Everyone, they should sacrifice the property. Life honor for the religion. Abul Faizi, Abul Fazl, Birbal. These were the important persons. Birbal, Abul Faizi, Abul Fazl. These were important members of the Sulekula, that was Dini Ilahi by the Akbar. Dini Ilahi by the Akbar. So Akbar, he said to the Christians regarding the Hinduism, Indian woman is very sacred, never find in any country. He said about the Indian women, they were very sacred. You cannot find in the any country. That was regarding the Indian women by the Akbar. So after this, Akbar, so political reforms of Akbar. Political reforms of Akbar. Political reforms of the Akbar. King was head of the kingdom. He was king, that is Sultan, head of the kingdom. After the kingdom, they divided into Subhas. Kingdom divided into Subha. Suba, head of the Suba was Subedar. Head of the Suba, Subedar. It was divided into Suba. Head of the Suba, Subedar. Subedar was the head of the Suba. And initially, during the time of the first time of the Akbar, there were 12 Subas. 12 Subas. Later, during that, in the 1605, at the time of the death of the Akbar, there were 15 Subas. 15 Subas. So, Suba head was Subedar. Sarkars, Subas were divided into Sarkars. These were divided into Sarkars. Amil Guzar, Sarkar head was the Amil Guzar. Amil Guzar, he was the head of the Sarkar. Akbar was the first king of the Mughals. Akbar was the first emperor of the Mughals who divided kingdom into Subas. Same like that during the time of the Suri dynasty. Sher Shah Suri, he divided the kingdom into Sarkars. Same. Subas, Sarkars. Again Sarkars divided into Paragana. Sarkars were divided into Paragana. Head of the Paragana, Amil. Amil was the head of the Paragana. Amil Guzar was revenue officer. Amil was the revenue officer during the Paragana area. Village, Chaukidar and Patwari. Village was the last unit of the administration. Chaukidar and Patwari, these two were heads of the village. Like this, he divided kingdom into Suba, Sarkar, Pargana, village, last unit of the administration. So, 4 officers under the Amil. Under the Amil, there were 4 officers during the time of the Akbar period. Karman. Yeah, 4 officers. The first one was Karman, supervisor of the crops. Karman, he was supervisor of the crops. Second, Kanungo. Kanungo, he was a tax collector. Kanungo was a tax collector. Kanungo, he was a tax collector. Batkichi. 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 So Batkichi, he was a supervisor of Kanungo. Supervisor of Kanungo. Supervisor of Kanungo. Next to the last one was Patedar. Patedar, he was a treasurer. Patedar was the treasurer. Patedar, he was a treasurer. So like that, there were 4 officers, those who work under the Amir. So this is about the administrative reforms, political reforms, and other things during the time of the Akbar period. Other things. Bairam Khan. So Bairam Khan introduced Japti Hasala, land reforms, coming to the point of the now land reforms during the time of the Akbar period. Land reforms during the time of the Akbar period. In the land reforms, first Bairam Khan, he introduced Japti Hasala system. Japti Hasala system. Bairam Khan introduced the Japti Hasala system, that is Harsala system. Shahabuddin Ahmad Khan, he introduced Shahabuddin Ahmad Khan. Shahabuddin Ahmad Khan. Shahabuddin Ahmad Khan, he introduced the Sask system, revenue Harsala. Sask system.
Sask system was he removed Harsala system and introduced the Sask system. After that, introduced the Japti system. This is also called as Dahasala system. Japti or Dahasala system, it was introduced by Raaajaa Todarmal during the time of Akbar period. Raaajaa Todarmal, he introduced that Japti system and Dahasala system. This has been taken from the Shershah's Raitwari system. Shershah's Raitwari system. This system is also called as Bandobast system. Bandobast system. This system is also called as Bandobast system. Raaajaa Todarmal was the architect of the Bandobast system. Based on this, land divided into three parts. Land divided into three classes. During the time of the Akbar period, land divided into three classes. First was Khalsa land. Khalsa means crown land. This land used for the purpose of the maintenance of the king. This was the king land. Jagir land. Second land was the Jagir land. Jagir land, it was under the ownership of the Jagirdars. Under the ownership of Jagirdars. Jagir land. Next to another land was Sayurgal land. Sayurgal land. Sayurgal land, this land is called as Enam land. This is also called as Enam land. Given to the religious donations or charities. These lands were given to the Muslim religious heads, Pandits, scholars, charitable trust. All these were having, these are the Sayurgal lands. Like land was divided into three parts. Land survey measurement was also introduced during the Akbar period. Land survey measurement. Land survey measurement, that is what called as Ilahi Ghazals. Ilahi Ghazals. Ilahi Ghazals means chain linked with a stick. That side and this side with the stick. Chain link. That was Ilahi Ghazals. Actually, this is based on the Sikandari Ghazals. Earlier the device was Sikandari Ghazals, which was introduced by the Sikandari Ghazals. It was introduced by the Sikandar Lodi. Sikandari Ghazals only chain. Still we are using the Sikandari Ghazals. But this failed. Akbar introduced the Ghazals, that was failed later period in the land revenue system. And a committee appointed for the leadership of the Raaajaa Todarmal. Under the leadership of Raaajaa Todarmal, a committee was appointed. Kingdom divided into 182 Korakoris. 182 Karuris. Kingdom was divided into 182 Karuris, that is land collection officials. Land revenue collection. Land revenue collection officials, 182. Next to Akbar also introduced the era called Hijri era. Hijra era. This was Islamic era introduced by the Akbar. And Bigha was land unit during the time of the Akbar period. Bigha, it was land unit. Bigha was a land unit. 1 bigha is 3,600 square yards.
Of that period, 1 biga equal to 3600 square yards. 3600 square yards. 1 biga equal to. Raaajaa Todarmal appointed 1580 Bandobast system in 1582. Raaajaa Todarmal appointed as a Diwan in 1580, and 1582 he introduced Raaajaa Todarmal. He introduced 1582 Raaajaa Todarmal introduced Bandobast system. Bandobast system. According to the Bandobast system, land divided into 4 parts. So, according to Bandobast system, land divided into 4 types. Land divided into 4 types. Coming to the point of the 4 types. The first one was polas. The first one, it was called as polas. Polas land, it was ideal or best type of the land. Ideal land or best type of the land for the cultivation. Best type of the land for the cultivation. Cultivated for every year. It cultivated for every year cultivated land. Polas. Second, parati. Parati, or this is also called as parauti. Parati or parauti. This was the second type of the land, kept to cultivation temporarily 2 years. Left the cultivation for temporarily 2 years. 2 years they cannot be cultivated, these lands. Temporarily 2 years so left for the cultivation. Next to chasar. Chasar land, it left cultivation for the 3 to 4 years. 3 to 4 years left cultivation. And fourth one is banjar. Never cultivated land, at least 10 years so left for the cultivation. This is what called as banjar land. So like this, land was divided into 4 parts. Revenue department is called as revenue department. Remember, revenue department is called as Diwani. Diwani. Revenue department is called as Diwani. And revenue office is called as officer. Revenue officer. He was called as Diwan. Diwani, Diwan. And also Akbar introduced to give Takkavi loans to the farmers. Takkavi loans. That means loans for the agricultural loans were called as Takkavi loans, introduced by the Akbar. And Patta Kabuliyat system. Patta system. Kabuliyat system. Kabuliyat system is continued. Kabuliyat system, these two were Patta and Kabuliyat system, means writing land on the name of the cultivator. Registered land on the name of the cultivator, it was Patta or Kabuliyat. Originally it was introduced by the Sher Shah, continued during the time of the Akbar period. Patta is the ownership rights. And revenue officers, there were some revenue officers of this period. Revenue officers. These revenue officers were the Sarkar level. In the Sarkar level, revenue officer Amil Gazar. In the Sarkar level. Pargana level, Amir. In the Pargana level, Amir was the Pargana level. Karkan, Bitarki, officers. Fatehdar. Fatehdar. These were on the Pargana level. Pargana level. These were the officers under the Pargana level. Patwari in the village level. Patwari, he was a revenue officer in the village level. Village revenue officer. Village revenue officer. Patwari. These are the land revenue systems of Akbar. Akbar period bandobast system, and also what I told to you, these 4 types of the lands. These 4 types of the lands are asked several times in the exams. These are the important. Next to, after this, military reforms during the time of the Akbar period. Military reforms. Military reforms during the time of the Akbar period. Akbar was the first emperor of the Mughals introduced army or national reforms. Army or on the national rules. Army, every time we can have the army, it was 2 parts. King's army, this is what called as standing army. King's army is called as standing army. And another army was a feudal's army, Mansabdari army. Mansabdari army. Mansabdari army. King's army and Mansabdari army. There were 2 types of the armies. Akbar first was the Mughal emperor, introduced the infantry in the army. He was the first Mughal emperor, introduced infantry. That means elephants in the army system. Naval force. He also maintained the naval force. Naval force. Naukadalam, naval force. Mir Behari. During the Akbar period, India was second place in the artillery in the entire country. And Akbar gave more importance to the artillery. He gave more importance to the artillery. After this, Akbar introduced Mansabdari system. We will discuss about the Mansabdari system during the time of the Akbar period. Mansabdari system. This Mansabdari system is a military ranking system. It was military ranking system, Mansabdari system. 3/4 of the army of Akbar was Mansabdar's army. Mansabdar's army. 3/4 of the army is the Mansabdar's army during the Akbar period. In 1571, he banned the Jagirdari system. Akbar banned the Jagirdari system. In the place of the Jagirdari system, Akbar introduced Mansabdari system. Mansabdari system. Mansab is Arabic origin. Mansab. It is an Arabic word. Arabic origin. Mansab is the Arabic origin. This was also asked earlier. Mansabdars were the officers in Mughal administrative system. Mansabdars. These were the army officials during the Mughal period. Army officials during the Mughal period. Mansabdars. So those nobles who joined Mughal services, they enrolled as a Mansabdars, both civil and military post. Mansabdar is a both civil post and also military post. Civil and military post. Mansabdar is a. They were liable to the transfer from one place to the another place. They can transfer.
Sometimes they can administer as a civil, sometimes they can administer for the military and also other. This was implemented from 1571 onwards. Mansabdari system started from 1571 onwards. During the Akbar period, Akbar rule appointed the 1800 Mansabdars. Akbar period, he appointed 1800 Mansabdars. 1800 Mansabdars. During the rule of the Aurangzeb period, 14,500. Coming to the point of the Aurangzeb period, they raised to the 14,500. 14,500. 1800 people increased to the 14,500. So Mansabdars, they designed by dual representation. Mansabdars they have dual representation. Representation. They have the dual representation, Mansabdars. In this dual representation of the Mansabdars, there are two things. One is, we have to understand there are two things. One is Jat, another one is Savari. Jat will be fixed by the emperor. Emperor used to fixed by emperor. It was maintained by Mansabdar. Suppose emperor would be fixed his Jagirdar, his Mansabdari was 5,000 Mansabdari. He may maintain 5,000 or he may maintain less than the 5,000, sometimes 2,500, like that. If 5,000 is there, the Mansabdar who maintained 5,000, he would come under the first rank. The Mansabdar who maintained 2,500, he comes under the second rank. Less than 2,500, he comes under the third rank. Like this, they used to give the ranks. Suppose 5,000 Mansabdari fix చేశారు అనుకోండి, 5,000 మెయింటైన్ చేయాలనేది లేదు. కింగ్ ఫిక్స్ చేస్తాడు, నువ్వు 5,000 వరకు నువ్వు ఎంతైనా మెయింటైన్ చేయొచ్చు అని. 5,000 లోపు అంటే 2,500 నుంచి 5,000 లోపు వరకు, ఇట్ ఈస్ ఫ్రమ్ 2,500 to 5,000. దిస్ ఈస్ ద ఫస్ట్ ర్యాంక్. 2,500, exactly 2,500 second rank. Less than the 2,500, that is third rank. అట్లా ర్యాంక్ డివైడ్ చేస్తారు. దట్ వాజ్ ది జాట్ అండ్ సవారీ. The Savar ranking indicating the number of armed cavalrymen and Savars. Armed cavalrymen and Savars. Number of armed cavalrymen and Savars. That was the Savari. Suppose 2,500 Savari, 2,500 horsemen and 2,500, that is are called as Savars. Based on their Jat and Savar, Mansabdars, they would be given the rank. That was a further rank. Already I said to you, first class Mansabdar, he was the first class Mansabdar, second class Mansabdar, third class Mansabdar. Like that, Mansabdars were given into three parts. Next, during the time of the Akbar period, what are the buildings were constructed by the Akbar? Akbar constructed some buildings. Actually, this we can again discuss during the time of the art and architecture of Mughals period. Especially Akbar, he constructed the forts, Agra fort, Lahore fort, Allahabad fort, and also Akbar constructed Fatehpur Sikri. Fatehpur Sikri, it was a capital of the Akbar. In the Fatehpur Sikri, Akbar, he constructed different buildings like Rangamahal,
and also Sheikh Salim's is the tomb.
Birbal Palace and other palaces, Jodhbai Palace, other palaces were constructed by the Akbar. During the time of the art and architecture period, we will discuss deeply about the buildings of Akbar. Okay, yeah, this is about the Akbar period. Akbar period, we made 2 videos and 2 classes. First class is the Akbar conquest, up to the Akbar conquest. Second class, in the second class we discussed the Akbar policies. Okay, in the next class we will discuss Jahangir, Shah Jahan, Aurangzeb. Good luck to you.